Welcome in, everybody. Roster the People, Week 12, Wednesday edition. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Jason. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Jordan. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there in TV land, although that's a completely misnomer anymore. No one watches TV. Jordan, how are you enjoying not Thanksgiving up in Canada?
It's great. It's just a normal Wednesday for me, and it'll be a normal Wednesday tomorrow. Actually, that's not true. There's 3 football games on tomorrow, so it won't be normal. More work for me, but I'm excited for it. We have some decent games. I'm saying decent. I'm putting an emphasis on that because the first 2 games, both spreads are about 9.5, 10. So it's looking like blowouts, but hopefully we get some good football. Hopefully.
Yeah. We'll see.
The best.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
Jason, how are you enjoying the run up to real Thanksgiving starting here in America now, effectively, since work is over?
Yeah, I realized that it's Wednesday today, and so I was like, oh, I totally thought today was Thursday because I knew we had the show, and so completely lost as usual. But I'm just excited to watch football and have all the questions more spread out. It's a lot less of a load when there's 3 games one day, and then I only have to deal with like 15 others or 13 others.
We actually have a little bit of a wait here because I think we've confused our audience. I tried to warn them. We posted this early. I posted it on social media. And normally what we come into is 50 questions already preloaded for the Thursday night game. And now as soon as I say that, they start trickling in.
Oh, we got one.
They're coming in. It's just going to take a little longer. It's like shaking a claw machine when it gets stuck. You just got to shake it a little bit, and eventually the questions.
And then sooner or later the vending machine just topples you over.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it topples over onto you. You got to be careful. But it's like rocking over a Coke machine. You're never going to get it on one try, but if you keep rocking it, eventually it'll start coming over. I will say there's no shortage of questions. I had a half day at work today. I spent half my day getting bombarded by people on our Discord with questions because people obviously they're going to be traveling tomorrow or they're going to be at home. And
what a bunch of losers.
They're trying to one or the other. They're either going to be traveling or they're going to be. I don't mean they're going to be at home by themselves, although I'm sure people will be. I mean, they might be having Thanksgiving at their house. So it's like you never know. You never know how people operate. All right, Bob from Bob's Burgers, where Thanksgiving is like the biggest day of your year. Incidentally, if you are looking for something to do tomorrow after football is over or before, get on streaming like Hulu or something and watch all the Bob's Burgers Thanksgiving episodes in a row. They're great. They're the best. They're the best episodes. They're fantastic.
And if you live in Canada, it's Disney Plus. So
yeah,
all those
Disney
Canadians
Plus
out there that have no access to Hulu because I don't know why, but anyways,
I actually could probably explain that to you one day, but it's really not relevant to like 90% of our audience. So but it has to do with what Hulu actually is in the background and who owns it and why.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And because Hulu's not actually owned by one company, it's owned by a group of many companies. And it's this whole thing that it gets even more complicated from there. That's the high level, though. So we will go through all the questions as per normal. We will do our normal show. Now, unlike normal shows where we prioritize the Thursday questions, you ain't getting that. Now we're going in order, baby. We're doing this the OG way when this was on Fridays. We're going in order. First in, first out. That's how this works. It is so much easier for you today, Jordan.
Yeah, and Daniel Ward, can't confuse him. He knows the schedule. He knows that he was supposed to be here on Wednesday and not Thursday. And his question will be first. PPR, first question, Dulcich or Evan Engram? So that's Dulcich versus the Panthers, and then Evan Engram versus the
I want to pass on the already.
Yeah, that's a tough one. You hate that streaming tight end territory for both. I guess Dulcich is kind of on the fringe. Like I know he's
Jordan. Tight end is so bad that anything outside the top 3 is streaming. Okay,
I know.
Like that literally, unless you're talking about Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, Hawkinson, and now Freiermuth, it's all streaming.
That stat where the gap between Kelce and Andrews, which is tight end 1, tight end 2.
Yeah.
is larger or as large as Andrews to Dulcich, which is tight end 2 to tight end 33.
Yeah.
That's how good Travis Kelce's been.
Well, it's also how bad tight end as a position is. Hashtag abolish the tight end. Get your shirts at Important Nonsense. Shop.importantnonsense.com. We have abolish the tight end shirts ready for you. They make great Christmas gifts for everybody who wants to just remove tight end as a position in fantasy, like myself, because what a waste of time to actually have a position where there's 3 viable players and everyone else is a disaster. And by the way, I did leave Kittle off that. So there are about 5 useful actual tight ends. Would it be such a crime to just tack them into wide receiver? What is the point of having a separate position for this? It's not even like it's like kicker. It's not even a skill-based thing where it's like you're good at fantasy because you can articulate who's good at tight end. It's doing 2 + 2 = 4.
Yeah.
It's not hard. To answer your question, now that I'll get off my diatribe, I'm going to go back to Dulcich one more again, even though I hate it, but I hate both your options. So there's no good answer to your question, Daniel. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Okay, so
I think it's actually Ingram though.
Whatever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, just
Whatever.
because
I don't care. Like,
Yeah, I know.
Oh my God.
I know
because
Daniel
of
doesn't want to
targets.
hear that. Daniel doesn't want to hear that I don't care about this. But like, I'm sorry, bro, but it's like that. You could flip a coin.
Yeah.
Honest to God, I'm surprised Jason didn't say go pick up Juwan Johnson off the waiver wire. Like it.
Also available, yes. I mean,
Yeah.
Can I just say something, Jason?
for
When Gerald Everett was inactive into the Sunday night game, in 2 separate leagues, people picked up Trey McKitty in my leagues, and I was astounded.
That they knew who it was, or that they went with Trey McKitty?
Both. Both.
I mean,
and he put up a fat 0.
Of course he did.
Like no Noah Gray. I would want Noah Gray if I was like, hey,
correct.
like if I was looking for a tight end with the 2 games left, or Trey McBride maybe if he was available. But anyways,
Yeah, I mean, if you're down that
and
low,
even then, I
like,
mean,
if you're
he
down
struggled
that
because
low-
of Moore. I mean, Moore went out, and I expected him to see more targets. Nope, it all went to Dortch.
God, he put up a fat negative -0.06 for me. Good thing I didn't need him, and I just he was
but
in there. But
just
you aren't
whatever.
the only person I know who's really bitter about the Rondale. Go to Twitter, check that out. Like,
I told everybody to
people
play him, so it's
mad about
100% on me.
Rondale.
I mean, because otherwise
And
he
he
would
was-
have gone for 9 and 106. Like
He's
good old
already
Dortch
ruled
did.
out for week 12 too. So everybody who was like, he can't be hurt that bad, which was my favorite take of like, you ever pulled your groin before?
Yeah.
Because I have. Like it's really debilitating. Okay, like it's not the kind of thing you're going to play a football game with properly. Let's
I feel
move
like
to
this is a
Daniel's next
stretching
question.
thing. Yeah, it's definitely a stretch thing. You need to start stretching more, right?
Anyways, my answer.
Oh wait, hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on. Thank you, Daniel, for at least understanding why.
Yeah,
At least he has
okay.
a concrete understanding of what what we're dealing with. Sorry,
Yeah.
Jordan. Go ahead.
No, I this one's tough. Like you're right, it's a coin flip. I probably will go Ingram, and I hate saying that. And it's just like, which one do you hate less?
Yeah.
And I don't know, Dulcich. I seem like that offense just looks
Flip a coin.
horrible.
Which one do you think is getting in the end zone? Because that's your answer.
Well,
Um,
I get it because the Broncos are playing the Panthers, so I completely understand where you're going. But man, Russell just looks so bad.
I mean, we could play my favorite narrative street game about Melvin Gordon. Did you hear the latest rumor mill about Melvin Gordon? Not to derail the show into the gutter. My favorite take on this, and I have no way of proving this is true. That's why we call it narrative street. We're going to make a hard left turn right down
into my
Narrative
favorite
Street.
area.
Right down narrative street here. But there were a lot of people locally reporting that Melvin Gordon was actually cut, not because of the fumbling, but because after they lost in the locker room, Melvin Gordon intentionally went and played a bunch of songs on his on the PA by Future. And for those of you who don't know what Future is, who are like me and are learning about this in real time because you're old and don't follow popular music, Future apparently is some sort of rapper.
Yes.
That's all you need to know. Besides this, Future is there's a lawsuit between Russell Wilson's wife and Future, and apparently Russell Wilson demanded that Melvin Gordon be released because of this. You'll never be able to prove it, which is why we go down narrative street here. But it did make me laugh. It did make me laugh, and I can't deny just as much as I can't prove it. I can't deny it either.
I don't want to deflate your balloon, but I think Benjamin Solak on Twitter did say it was fake.
Don't rain on my parade.
I'm just
I was-
saying.
I-
hey, I'm
If
just
you're
saying.
like, if you're in this like me for the comedy, okay, just because it's fun.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Like I saw that and I did it. I cracked a smile.
Trust me, I want to believe it's true, but I don't know. They have no running backs, and I feel like it's pretty much, yeah.
Is that Cameron?
No, that's definitely not
It's-
somebody
no.
that works for us. That is.
It's X neckbone X.
That's
Come
n-
on.
I
Yeah,
know,
can
but
you read?
that
Can you
picture looks
read?
like Mason from
You
the
can't
side.
read. Okay, well, I'm sorry, but you can't prove that. I'm having more fun with this. We're not answering questions tonight, guys. We're not answering questions anymore tonight, guys.
Hysterical.
No, not at all. Never saw
true.
that. I never put that up. That never went up there.
All right, let's get back on track here.
Why?
2-2.
We're
and
getting more
1.
rating. We're getting more.
Yeah.
The viewers have been going up since I've derailed us. By
That
the
is
way,
true.
okay.
2-2.
Anyways, so the second part of Daniel's question: standard pick 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 1 flex. Oh goodness. Devontae Adams, DPJ, Myers, Rondale. Well, Rondale.
It's out.
Okay. Anyways,
So
Brandon
you can count
Cooks,
that one.
Mixon, Montgomery, Murray, Gibson. Wow, you just gave your entire team. Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah, that's like okay. My brain is like
Ooh,
shutting
Okay,
down. I'm
so
just trying to read it.
Devontae Adams is a yes.
yeah,
right?
that's for sure.
Yeah, let's
just get-
do the locks, right? Yeah, Adams for everybody. So that's 1 wide receiver.
Do we do Mixon for everyone if he starts?
No.
I don't see how you could possibly bench Mixon if he's playing.
Okay.
I just
okay.
hate
so
the
let's
matchup
just
so
go to the
much.
assumption that Mixon is starting.
Well,
Mixon- I know.
I really want to make that assumption, to be honest.
I know.
Also, Murray, I'm guessing Wow.
I can tell you, where do I have Mixon?
Latavius.
Latavius Murray.
I love how your brain just went Javante
Wow.
and Murray and
Yeah, that was a bit of a brain fart.
Where do I even have?
That's
I know
awesome.
I rated Mixon like super low. Hang on. Yeah, I opened my initial rankings have Mixon at 45. So
Okay,
like,
well let's.
he'll go
disclaimer.
up if he's gonna play, but he's
I'm-
there because we don't know that.
I'm also gonna say Montgomery because I think if Justin Fields doesn't play, Montgomery is going to get a ton of work.
Even if he
Also,
doesn't
Herbert's
play,
still out.
Montgomery's gonna get-
Well, that too,
So-
but I think Montgomery you have to play him as well just because of the the amount of the volume he's going to get.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have a wide receiver and a running back so far.
And then I'm kind of
Because it's standard, I'm going to go with DPJ.
yeah.
And then because of the quarterback change, I'm going to go with Cooks. And finally wrap it up with
I was going to
Gibson.
ask you about that. How are you dealing with the whole Davis Mills getting benched, Jason? You were the biggest, or sorry, the biggest only.
he's probably
Davis-
dealing with about as well as Chris Sims is dealing with Zach Wilson getting benched. He's just
Uh,
drinking aggressively in the background. Like,
It's I don't know. I that whole team's just so broken. I'm so confused on so many things.
It just makes me sad that now the Texans are going to get the first overall pick and ruin another good quarterback.
mm,
And
Well,
They
it
didn't
could
ruin
make,
the
it may,
last
it'd make
one
it very, very hopeful for him if he goes to a better team.
they didn't ruin the last one they had. They just can't manage anything properly. He's not ruined. And also he did that to himself to a certain
that's
extent.
true, but
That's
maybe,
they didn't make him evil. He did that.
oh,
like
you
that's
don't know that.
well,
You
you
can't
know
prove
what? I actually don't know that. You know what? That's fair. That is fair. I don't know that. It's just unlikely. It's just unlikely. As I frequently point out on this show, I don't know that. It is just unlikely. So for me, God, this is a mess.
This is
You love it. You
So-
want to work through your brain. Just keep those.
No,
thoughts
I'm
turning.
gonna play. So I got to give this like some caveats. I'm gonna play Adams and DPJ as the wide receivers, right? And that's
Yep.
pretty much open and shut.
Yeah.
And then for the back half of this, for the running backs, it'll be Montgomery for sure. That's definitely happening. And then Murray is the other choice, and that's assuming Mixon doesn't play. If Mixon plays, then then we're subbing out Murray for Mixon. And then we get to flex, and the flex is really hard in this case. Because I'm telling you, because it's standard, if Mixon's playing, then I'm putting Murray in the flex. And that's what we're doing. Because standard is all about who do you think is going to catch a touchdown or get a touchdown at
Mhm.
some level. That's what standard boils down to.
Touch
So if we get to the point where we figured out Mixon's not playing, so Murray goes into the RB2 slot at that point, then I'm going to go with Myers. That's what I'm going to go with.
I don't think I can disagree with any of that. I think it's all true because you're right about the standard. Like, it's who do you think's going to score a touchdown? I don't love Latavius Murray. The only reason why I'm okay with the situation is right. What's that backfield look like?
He's starting.
It's Latavius Murray and Marlon Mack off the street. So, and that.
They might get Mike Boone back. They might be getting Mike Boone back at some point. I know. Contain your excitement. Where's Mason's burner account? Mason, what are your thoughts on Mike Boone? What are your thoughts on Mike Boone possibly coming back? I need to know. Put it in the chat. We'll get back to it. All right, let's move. Does anybody have any caveat? Jason, did you have some disagreements with any of that, or are we?
No, that's fine. But I just had different choices because.
Well, no, share them.
Share. That's why I'm asking you to share them
earlier. Yeah, I said Adams, DPJ, Cooks, Montgomery.
Oh, yeah, that's where we brought up the Davis Mills stuff, and we got derailed.
There we go. Okay, sorry, we derailed into the.
That's how that works. And then Gibson.
Okay, we're good.
All right, let's move on. Polo, of course.
Welcome in, Polo.
Polo, what a stud. William Taylor, Cooper, Pittman, or Palmer need to start too. Standard. Jefferson's my only starter. You got. I don't know why people.
Did you just skip? You absolutely just blew past like his first question, which is further up. The half-point PPR, Treylon Burks or Garrett Wilson. This is the most unprofessional show we've ever done, and that's such a that is a bar that is so low that it's a tripping hazard in hell.
You know, I saw. So
okay,
we kept going at like other questions, like but the baby mama and stuff, and I just like.
Well, those aren't questions. That's just me. That's just me doing crowd work.
Okay. Let's do this one quickly because I think it's.
All right, we'll do it quick.
Pittman and Cooper. I think it's open and shut.
Yes and no. Cooper, I agree with, but if like it is looking, Williams would be out. I am definitely going to go Palmer against the Cardinals all day.
You're going to play Palmer over Michael Pittman, huh?
More likely to
it is touchdowns. Standard league, I guess.
It doesn't matter to me. I think
it's similar enough.
Well, it does matter to the person asking the question.
No, I'm just saying, like, it doesn't matter to me if Williams starts or not. I still think that Pittman are your best options out of this.
I have to literally like readjust my rankings because it's standard, and I hate.
Got to go from PPR to standard.
Yeah, well, stop playing standard. Would be my advice.
Standard is PPR now.
Standard is terrible. It's, as Steve calls it, no point. No, it's still Pittman for me.
Yeah,
still Pittman. And I do see the argument though, because Palmer might be incrementally more likely to catch a touchdown than Pittman, but I can't go there with you. It's mostly because we don't know. To be honest, we don't know who's going to be. Mike Williams might be out there.
Correct.
So we don't know. So if that's the case,
that's why I put the caveat in there.
Yeah.
If he is out, I like Palmer because he looked pretty good in that role last week. So
I cannot argue with you about that.
All right. I apologize to Brick CB, and I did skip over this.
We're doing your questions out of order.
Half PPR, Treylon Burks or Garrett Wilson. Wilson has to be better off with Zach.
That's not debatable.
Yep. That's
very
that's
true.
That's not debatable.
That's tough though. Like, I mean, it's not guaranteed. Like, obviously, like it's kind of tough when the bar's on the ground. But
I'm going with Garrett Wilson because it's half-point PPR.
The Jets play.
Yeah.
The Jets play the Bears, and the Bears have the second worst secondary in pro football. Yeah. Okay, so like that's. Ask me how I know.
How do you know?
I watch a lot of Bears football, and it'll take years off your life.
That is true. I'm gonna go Garrett Wilson as well. I just think that the Burks. It was good to see that he had a great game.
He got 5 points on the last play of the game in garbage time when they tricked the defense. Exactly. Like he had like not a 5. But literally, he got 5 points like on the last play of the game.
Yeah,
that ain't happening every week.
Well, they're gonna have to throw this week. That's the only reason I bring it. I'm just
or is
against
Derrick
the
Henry
Bengals
just gonna murder them in their little face?
I mean, I don't know.
No, their touchdowns are going to come from Dontrell Hilliard, and then like some like tight end
Austin Hooper will catch another touchdown,
and then Henry will have the other two.
Yep. That'll happen again. Yeah.
Actually, I think it's going to be to Tannehill this time.
Well, it could be.
It's going to be a handoff. Okay. Tannehill's going to cover him around the end, and it's going to be a toss to him.
Sure.
So. Just straight up calling it out. But yeah, I agree. It's probably Wilson. I think there's more upside there.
All right. Perfect. All right. Danny Ward again. PPR pick 2. Foreman. I'm going to assume Donta Foreman.
Yep.
Yeah.
Van Jefferson, Gibson, pick 2.
Foreman and Gibson. Taking the 1-2 I know are going to touch the ball.
Yeah, no,
and
it's
did I actually trust-
Yeah.
Foreman Gibson because you can cut Van Jefferson. That's fine.
Yeah.
Van Jefferson will be starting with his third string quarterback. So
Yeah, that is true.
that is the
Okay.
worry.
you're good. You can move that question along.
Okay. Half PPR pick 1, Garrett Wilson, Christian Watson, Drake London, Deontay Johnson. Pick 1. Wow.
Wilson?
Yeah.
It's close between Wilson.
No,
Wilson
I'm
and
going.
Watson?
No, I think I'm going Wilson here. Hold on, I'll confirm that. For you.
Oh, Dante Johnson, maybe though. Like, I mean,
If
Yeah,
it's
no, that's
PPR,
my
maybe.
other choice. But no,
I'm not totally. I'm gonna just.
can't do it. I'm gonna go. Yeah. I see. Christian Watson. I'm still
Yeah.
wrapping my head around like. Okay, that's a whole conversation in and of itself. It's the most it's literally we did the math on this. It's like the most unsustainable thing possible.
I'm just scared that we're saying, hey, there's no Zach Wilson, unleash Garrett Wilson, and he just has a dud. That's what I'm afraid of. Whereas like Watson's had 2
That's
great games.
fantasy football, homie.
Yeah,
Like,
I know,
that's-
but-
That's how it goes.
Like Drake London, no.
On
Drake
that same
London,
note, London now without Pitts. Very interesting.
Yeah, but I'm not
they've
rolling
run the
that in my
ball.
lineup yet. I'll be happy to do that in future weeks with you
Yeah.
if you want to play that game, but I'm not doing it today. My actual rankings, I'll just go through my rankings like quickly. And it's
Of these 4
Wilson,
players.
it's Wilson, it's Watson, it's Johnson, and then it's London. And they're all pretty close. But Wilson's my first choice. Wilson's a high end flex this week. He was
Yeah,
wide
I'll agree
receiver
with that.
14 with Joe Flacco.
No, I'll agree with that. I agree that
He was a wide receiver 2 with Joe
Well,
Flacco.
and the only reason he had a bad week last week is because of the matchup, in my opinion. That they
No.
want to
It's-
take him away.
It's the fact that those targets were not anywhere. They're calling them
That
targets.
that
They're
also
calling
helps,
them
yes.
targets, but when they're in the stands, is it a target? Like it's not really a target. Like,
Well, I replay the throw to Braxton Berrios where he
Oh,
is this
God.
to me? He like did the half jump and it went over his head and he looked behind him like, oh, that was actually mine. But yeah,
Yeah,
just
that
throwing
was-
to the
that was
guy on the
gross.
sideline.
mine. Yeah.
Is everybody going Wilson? 2 for Wilson so far. And somehow it's
Yeah.
Jason and I on the same team, which is rare.
I'm hesitant. I really am. I'm hesitant.
You want to preach some upside? You want to go Watson and see if you can go hit 3
No, he's
home
thinking
runs in a row?
London.
No,
He's
I'm not
thinking
thinking.
London
I'm thinking
because
Deontay Johnson, but
Oh, really?
Okay, Deontay Johnson would be the other chalk pick.
that's who I'm. You know what? Just to be
Contrarian.
contrarian, I'm gonna go Deontay Johnson. But
All
I think you could be good with either of those, even Watson. Like
All
that's
right,
not
let's go to the next
bad.
one.
So PPR pick 2, Olave, Chris Higgins,
Higgins
Lamb.
and Lamb.
Yeah,
Agree.
I was actually shocked that Jason actually would like sprinkle a Olave in, but
Olave is
Has
a
been
nice
struggling.
story. He's a nice story, but he has Andy Dalton as his quarterback, and it's
That's true.
murdering him.
That is the issue, yes.
If
and
Jameis Winston was starting, I would actually be significantly higher on Olave because Jameis Winston doesn't care if you're in double coverage; he'll throw it to you anyway.
Also, to be fair though, Olave is. I know it is Andy Dalton on the ball, but Olave is playing a very banged up Niners secondary, so there might be upside there. But I think you can't bench either Higgins or Lamb. You just can't
Not
do
enough.
it.
Yeah.
And then the last one, pick 1, Latavius Murray or Montgomery.
Montgomery,
Especially in
Uh,
PPR. Yeah.
Montgomery,
Yeah, that one's easy. Okay,
Montgomery's going to get all the volume.
and then.
That's hold
Well,
on.
we're happy to help you, Dan.
Now we're going. Now we're
Every
going
week.
back. Now we're going back into like the scroll down. I think the next
Yeah.
question is Aaron.
Yeah, that's where I got confused. Aaron Cantu, thanks for joining us again. RB3 and
I've
4.
been talking to you all day,
Full-
Aaron.
full
You still
PPR.
came to the show.
Yeah.
You
Did
didn't
you
get
not get
of me?
enough?
Full PPR, best of roster, which 2? Sorry,
This
I'm
is a fun question.
RB3 and 4 full PPR best of roster.
Oh, I know. I
Oh, so
actually
his
probably
third-
know
so
his
his-
team well enough that I know why.
So
the
his
question-
non, so he's talking about like these are my 3rd and 4th running backs.
He has positional limits on this team.
Okay, got you. Okay,
Like that's why he's
so-
talking about this the way that he is.
Okay.
I can pretty much
So Kareem
guarantee it.
Hunt, Samaje P. Ryan, James Cook, Madison, McKinnon. I'm gonna assume Keontae Ingram because if it's Mark Ingram, then the no.
Yeah, it has
At
to be.
least Keontae Ingram actually does have decent value since he's second in line to Connor now. Am I right on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, this
For
is
now.
actually not that complicated. You would think the answer would be Kareem Hunt, right? Because that's like
Mm,
the
Actually,
You
that's
would
like
think.
the chalk. That's like the chalk thing. where it's Kareem. It should just probably be Kareem Hunt. But I got to tell you, man, I am so done with Kareem Hunt at this point that outside of a Chubb injury happening, I'm over it. And I know people are like, well, Watson's going to come back. And I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, telling people to drop him for a couple weeks now. So
I've been holding out hope that he could maybe get something going. But the answer to this, it's Perine and it's Cook. That's what it is.
Upside?
Well, it's not just upside. It's Joe Mixon being hurt vaults Perine way up.
He's top of the list. That's true.
Yeah,
absolutely.
because Mixon is banged up, and it's one of those situations where there's no guarantee Mixon's playing this week. And frankly, that's a playoff team. They need Mixon for down the stretch. These games don't matter as much. And Perine has looked good enough in limited work that it's like they might just give Mixon a couple days, like a week or two off. So for right now, he's saying to roster. He's not saying forever, right?
Yeah.
So for right now, this is subject to change. This is subjective. You could ask me this question every 2 weeks, and we'd probably alter it. But that's fantasy. What's fantasy football? You turn your roster. So it's Perine and it's Cook, because those are the two guys that the arrow is pointing up significantly on. Cook is getting way more involved as Singletary gets phased out, because Singletary is not that great at football, as we've seen for 5 years in a row, it feels like now. And Perine is benefiting from the fact that Joe Mixon is banged up, and Perine's not going to score 3 touchdowns every week, but he's proven that he's more than good enough to carry that role. And Chris Evans is no threat to him. So it's just Perine.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm rostering Joe Mixon, you need to be rostering Perine as the handcuff remainder of the way.
You should have spent your entire fab on Perine.
Well, you should have already had it for $1.
I think it's Perine, but whatever.
It is Perine probably. You should have had that done for $1 out of your fab 2 weeks ago as you're trying to build your playoff
every
roster.
Sunday before kickoff.
Yeah.
The only thing else, I agree with you. I think those, if no strings attached, the only thing I would say, I need to know who RB1 and 2 is, because if one of them's Dalvin Cook, then I would say Madison for one of them.
Oh, I already know what it is. I could probably tell you this. One of his running backs is Saquon Barkley.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure the other one is Jamal Williams.
So it's not. Oh God. So it's not.
Jamal Williams is
a beast. What are you laughing about?
No,
there
but the thing
is.
No, the thing I'm saying though is like
I'll
Jamal
cut
Williams.
your mic, Jordan. Normally this is what I threaten Jason with. I'll get you right out of here.
The reason I'm saying is
the vaudeville hook for you.
You should have Jamal Williams as like what we were talking about. It was a mid to late round pick. If you didn't trade,
he was like a 12th round pick.
Exactly. So you should ideally have 2 running backs that look better, and Jamal Williams.
Ideally, but I don't know what his other situation was. You could have
that's why I kind of hesitated.
Like your other one could have been Najee Harris.
I'm pretty sure
he's on the up. He's on the up and up now. But anyways, I digress. Yeah, then I'm gonna go Perine and Cook then. If he's got no handcuff, responsibilities.
I already had this conversation with Aaron too, where I'm like, if you got Saquon, you got to go get Breida. As much as Breida doesn't done anything to this point,
still the handcuff.
He is the pure handcuff. Because if something was to happen to Saquon, Breida would be the #1 waiver pick in every fantasy league, like on every outlet. And the advice would be blow half your fab budget, get him on your team. And he's never going to put up Saquon numbers, but running back is so valuable that.
And they also love to run the ball. That's what they do. And
it's a different league. Okay, wow, you have a lot of the same players. Etienne and CMC, it changes nothing.
No,
about what I was.
With those options, no.
Yeah.
I still prefer Madison, just because of the.
I'm actually working with him to trade Madison because
That's fair.
Well, at this point, unless you roster Cook, Madison doesn't matter.
And it's not like he's doing too much. Like he gets he's not getting involved.
If Cook does go down. That's the whole
I know, but I never like to tell people do this because you have to rely on injury, because you don't know that. You don't know Cook's going to get injured again.
You don't, which is why I want him off my team, because it's a good trade target. It's a good trade piece at the deadline here to get something, because Madison has no value unless you have Cook going down the stretch, right? He's just waiver wire fodder. He's the back end of your bench. That matters more at the beginning of the year. But as you're turning your roster from a regular season roster into a playoff roster, things like having a backup quarterback become more important, because you can't trade for a quarterback because the trade deadline is gone. So you're beholden to whatever's on the waiver wire. You need to start building in contingency plans for the stretch run. It's also the only time that I will ever tell anyone to roster 2 defenses. Because if the matchups are right, and it's way harder to stream defenses during the playoffs. Like you want to start building contingency plans. So unless you roster Cook, Madison doesn't matter. But that's why I say it's worth it to move Cook at the deadline, because to the person who is rostering Cook, they will give you something for that, because the alternative is if something was to happen to them, it's their insurance piece. You know what I mean?
If they're smart enough. I play with a ton of people that would be like, I don't want to run back. I'm running back.
Oh, sure. Sure.
But
There's plenty of mouth breathing people
piece.
yeah. There's plenty of mouth breathers out there that won't understand, Jordan, the importance of having an insurance
policy.
No,
trust me, I play with a ton of them.
But those people are not our audience.
That's true.
So they are, if they're smart enough to come and listen to us to begin with.
Yeah. Because you are here. Make sure you join the Discord, and all this stuff becomes very available to you for only $1 a month.
Yeah, I can give you this whole diatribe in written form. That way you can take it with you.
You will go through your roster and gladly.
I have been.
Figure out.
Yes. Literally.
Before we get to the next question,
I can't wait for the trade deadline, guys.
Someone who may or may not be Mason Cameron. Found something very funny.
Where's my Mike Boone analysis?
That's what we're
Put it in the chat. Not Mason.
So Polo's asking, is Tony Pollard a must start in flex now? I think so.
Yes.
I think that he's more startable than Zeke. I know Zeke.
Kamara.
That's a different story. But like Zeke is like, so I watched that whole game.
Fun fact: he's not a flex. I have Tony Pollard as my RB11 this week.
Ooh, that's
but I'm saying like
how could he not be?
The thing is though, this is another one.
I have him at
like
12,
you probably have two running backs who are above that, like maybe
once in a while you and I line up on something.
But no, he's a must start. Let's just agree, must start. He has to be. He does so much for that team now. He's involved in the passing game, and like I said, I think he's leapfrogged Zeke's because Zeke's getting like. They had their first try where Zeke had this first touchdown where Tony Pollard did all of the work, and they brought in Zeke on the goal line
to be the battering ram,
and he punched it in.
2022 Marion Barber.
That's what he needed.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. I got the deep cuts over here. That's a 10-year-old running back reference. Nobody remember Marion the Barbarian. Nobody remembers this.
If you remember Jones, I remember that.
Marion, put it in the comments. If you have any idea what I'm talking about.
I think I was just on the cusp of like learning, like knowing all that stuff, so I kind of understand.
I'm old. It's fine.
You guys are both a bit older than me. So.
It's even better. It's even better because he played for the Cowboys.
Yes.
I know.
He played for the Cowboys. It's the greatest. But yeah, Tony Pollard is better than a flex at this point. And thank you for the question, Polo. Keep them coming.
That was a good one.
Our friend M. Gonzalez, full PPR, who's the better wide receiver start? Treylon Burks, George Pickens, or Christian Watson. That's a lot of rookies. A lot of productive rookies, though.
Because this is what we do with the end of our bench here is we pick up all these upside players.
Well, I think the answer is Christian Watson. And I don't think I would have said that 3 weeks ago. But I think
I actually would have laughed at you 3 weeks ago.
But it's true now. I think he's slightly over Pickens because I think Pickens is going to get the Stephon Gilmore treatment. And I know that's not the same as it used to be, but I don't think Pickens is going to have the week he had last week. And Burks, you just don't know what that offense is going to look like.
I have Watson and Pickens literally. It's not Burks. Burks deserves to be on your roster, but if these are my other two choices, it's not Burks. It's Watson or it's Pickens. I have them literally next to each other in my rankings. I have Pickens 32, Watson 33. The way I'll answer this question is this way.
Sorry, can I just... Oh, way to plug.
You're not supposed to be. Way to break the fourth wall on your burner account. Thank you. Also, your burner account is completely ineffective when you use the same profile photo of yourself. It doesn't work that way, sir. Not Mason at not Mason
Cameron.
Yeah.
That should have been. You need to change your name to @NotMasonCameron.
Tune in for Underdogs Overdogs with Mason Cameron and Vishal Gupta. They'll take you through all the betting lines and help you make some actual money week in, week out. They do a great job.
God, that's hysterical.
Oh my God. I'm gonna give the slight edge to Pickens, but literally it's 32-33. You can't. I don't know that you can really make this decision wrong, but I go to Pickens because I don't view the Watson touchdown rate as sustainable. At one point, he had 8 targets last week, right? He caught 5 of them. But if you break down his last 2 weeks, he had 5 touchdowns on 6 targets. That's not sustainable. We did the math on this and we posted the table. It's not sustainable to do that. The handful of people that have had 3 games like that in a row, it's like 12 guys going back to the 1980s. Gronk's on that list twice, by the way. That's the part that tickled me was that it's Gronk, and it's I don't want to rain on people's Christian Watson parade. Actually, you know what I do? I do want to rain on people's but I'm lying. But no, it's to me, it is a lot closer than it was last week, where I was kind of poo-pooing this. He has come up the rankings a bit here, but I would rather go with what I feel is much more sustainable production in Pickens than the Russian roulette that you're going to play with Christian Watson, because if he doesn't score those touchdowns, we are not having this conversation
next week.
That's true. I still feel like he's still going to be relevant. I'm
assuming I'm on. This is where I'm on an island because I think it was Watson. Am I correct in just?
Yeah, Jason. Where were you going with this one?
We're all on different islands.
Oh my god.
Oh, you're going to play Burks? Oh my god.
It's PPR. I'm taking the targets.
Okay. Well,
taking the targets in the matchup. You're welcome.
How did we get here? What year is it? What's my name?
Well, Jason was shocked that it was 2022, but before we came on air.
Correct.
So.
I think my name is Ignacio Fountain. I don't know what is happening in this thread anymore.
We got a good question here by Daniel Ward. A little bit change of pace question. Since 2016, what fantasy one-hit wonder do you miss the most? My pick is 2016 David Johnson.
Jamal Charles, but that's older than 2016. Sorry.
But is he one-hit wonder though? Like he had the massive year, but he was so good. He just wasn't.
Never got to the heights he hit in like that 2012 season.
I guess
that 2012 season where he just lit the world on fire, and nobody had ever heard of Jamal Charles before. Jamal Charles won me like 3 titles. He won me like 3 titles that year.
Does Gary Barnidge count?
Oh God,
that was a fun one.
That was one I was totally off of, and that was one of the ones like I actually got to do a victory lap for because I knew he was going to go high. He wasn't going to.
Eric Decker in 2015 would also be an honorable mention for me when he scored all those touchdowns. God, that was great.
Yeah. Julius Thomas, like in the same vein.
Yeah, that would be I could give you that. That's also a pretty deep cut. We are not honoring the 2016 component to this at all. Both of mine are from before 2016.
Let me think of one.
I'm really struggling to think of like that. That seems like it's so long ago, but
mine are all older, and that's the messed up part about this. Like, for context, I'm like 35, but I just know.
I'm Gonzalez. Yes.
Yeah. Gary Barnidge is a great one. Oh, Peyton Hillis.
Oh, that's a good one.
Peyton Hillis, the 1 year of Peyton Hillis when he made the Madden cover, or I should say the year prior to the Madden cover.
That's a good one.
I just, for the record, I'm like 35. It's just I know who I'm dealing with, and most of our audience is like sub 25. So to them, I'm like 100. Like,
if we think of more, we'll move on. But if we can think of any,
I got more.
Is that fun?
Maybe.
I'm trying to think of 1 year that somebody did something.
Who did you
Christine
say?
Michael.
He said T.J. Yeldon. Christian Michael is an interesting one.
David Wilson.
Yeah. David Wilson. There's some good ones. Mine are all like super old from like the.
Yeah, if I think of more, I'll shout.
We can come back to this. I'll play this game with you all day.
Shout out Mike Manning. Mike White loves him some RBs. So
that's just a statement of fact. Do we want to pause on this for a moment? We were talking about this, and I thought we would get more Jets running back questions for like the waiver wire, but they haven't come in yet. So we could just do this as a topic right now in like 30 seconds. In my opinion, all the Jets running backs were droppable until Zach Wilson
gave them all life,
yanked, and now it's Mike White. And the one thing we know about Mike White is Mike White loves throwing dump offs to the running back.
Whoever's closest to the line of scrimmage.
A lot of people got really confused, specifically the running back. It's not necessarily who's closest to the line of scrimmage, but it's the running back, because a lot of people got confused by Michael Carter's total numbers last year, and it pushed his ADP up coming into this year. Those numbers Michael Carter put up last year were with Mike White under center, throwing dump offs to him. So we don't totally know yet which Jets running back is going to be the recipient of that. But in addition to Garrett Wilson getting elevated up off the scrap heap, the other position that just one of these Jets running backs is likely going to get a huge, massive uplift. My belief is that it's Michael Carter again, but I don't know that because I don't think anybody knows that. I think James Robinson will likely continue to be the running back, and his value will be the primary traditional running back, and his value will remain capped because of that. But we don't know that. We don't know anything. My point is, they were all droppable. And now none of them are droppable. I want to hold on to it. And it's weird because Ty Johnson suddenly might actually matter for the first time in 3 years. Like, we don't know. It's fascinating. I wouldn't go out of my way to acquire them, but if I already had them and I was looking at cutting them, I don't want to cut them anymore. Does anybody want to challenge me on any of this or want to go around the horn on it?
I've always been on the James Robinson train, so that's been my issue.
I'm just pivoting a tiny bit. Was it Mike White who was the one that made Elijah Moore relevant, or was that kind of a mixture between him and Zach Wilson?
That was a mix. That was more of a mix.
Okay, because
the Carter thing was all White.
Now I know that was Mike White, but I just I'm kind of hoping that Elijah Moore has a little bit of a resurgence.
I'm not. As someone who rosters all Garrett Wilson has no Elijah Moore shares. I'm hoping you're completely wrong.
That's fair because I'm a little biased because I'm a Elijah
selfish as hell over here.
And
Mike Manning, astute as always. That is a very, very good observation because I'm just telling you, a lot of outlets aren't talking about this. You can't find it on ESPN, folks. ESPN's not talking about this, and Fantasy Pros did a little blurb about it, but it's not really getting traction because
well, we know ESPN. It's for dads by dads, right?
Well, ESPN also that team is in New York, but they don't consider it a New York team because it's in New Jersey and they don't cover things that aren't in New York or in LA.
Yeah.
Occasionally Florida makes an appearance, but
anyways, we'll move on. 7 Tigre. I hope I'm saying that right. Spin. Anyways, full
Sven?
PPR, pick 1, Cam Akers, Kyron Williams, Donta Foreman, Brandon Cooks. Well, Kyron Williams, no. I feel like I see the upside because there's no Henderson anymore.
Full PPR, huh?
But I mean, you're gonna pick Cam Akers over Kyron Williams anyways. I'm not saying that's who I'd pick. See, I know, Jason. I know where you're gonna go with this, and
that's a risky assumption, sir. That's a risky assumption at these days.
I mean, oh god. I think I'm gonna go.
That's the right. That noise is the appropriate.
See, you know
answer.
what? I want to say Cam Akers, but I can't force myself to say it because you can't go Donta Foreman because they're playing a tough Denver defense, and I think that I don't care who they have at quarterback. I just don't think the offense is going to do anything.
I will say, I'm not going to go with Foreman. I think Foreman and Kyron Williams can be eliminated straight off.
Yes.
And you're talking about either you want to get cute and play Cam Akers, and that is the definition of getting cute. You should have an anime weeaboo emoji if you're going to play Cam Akers.
What?
Yeah, don't worry about it. Our audience knows what I'm talking about. It's fine.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I just wanted to make sure that you said it.
Yeah, I say all kinds of. Have you met me? Yeah. I say all kinds of random crap on this show.
How do you know?
How do I know what that is?
Yes.
I have a weird knowledge set, Jason. Okay, it's like
really.
I don't know what future is.
Yes, exactly what I mean.
But I do know what anime is. And what's funny is I don't even really watch anime. I just know what it is.
Well, that's part of your problem. You need to fix that too.
Yeah. So I've heard.
Start with Yu Yu Hakusho, and then we'll move on from there.
That's your choice?
Yes.
Most people would start with One Piece is what I get referred to. By the way, I'm also going to go with Cooks to put a bow on.
Yeah, still Cooks.
I probably should. Let me be honest.
Too many cooks in the kitchen.
I probably should go Cooks, even with the Kyle Allen situation.
Mason, you understood. Don't pretend like you don't know what I'm talking about. Don't sit here and try and gaslight. I don't believe that at all. I figured Jason would know what I'm talking about. Jordan not understanding is more understandable.
I don't understand it. I think I do, but we're not going to go into it. Let's move on. Aaron Cantu, love talking fantasy football, like listening to people talk about fantasy football, joining the channels.
That's us talking about why Aaron is still listening to us for his 12th consecutive hour.
I know, and we do
get therapy. Aaron, get therapy.
He likes to hang around.
You've spent way too much time listening to us. You're getting too deep. You've gotten too much. It's like a furnace blast.
Anyways, sorry, I just lost my spot. William Taylor again. Murray or Garoppolo. Standard. It doesn't matter. I also have Fields, but not sure what to do with him at this point. Murray seems like he's playing, so I'd probably go Murray anyways. because I'm afraid about Fields. I don't even know if he'll play, and if he does, like I don't trust it. I think that any sign of injury with that shoulder, he's getting the heave, and they're putting in. I didn't even know the back of it. Hunley. I actually thought about this. Who's their backup?
For who?
The Bears.
Oh, it's not relevant.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying pick them up. I'm saying Kyler Murray because I think he's going to play.
Kyler Murray probably will play this week. It's getting there.
Yeah, so I would go Murray. Even though Garoppolo had a good game against the Cardinals, I don't think he'll sustain that against the Saints. I think he'll take a step back.
Simeon. That's who the backup is.
Wow.
Just so you know.
We're all dumber for having learned that.
You're welcome.
Hey Mason, what are your thoughts on Trevor Simeon?
No, it's Jimmy G for me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, not Mason. Totally not Mason.
Oh yeah, neck bone.
Yeah.
I'm also going to play Garoppolo here, mostly because he's been sneaky consistent. I will say this: if I thought I was going to lose that game, if I was in some sort of matchup where my projection was like I'm going to score 130 and my opponent's projected to score like 160 or pick a number like that, I'd probably roll Murray out there just on the off chance that he blows up.
Yeah,
he might get the rushing floor to really put you over the top. But in any other scenario that's not that, I'm just going to roll Jimmy Garoppolo out there and hope that I get my 20 points and just live with it.
And
he's not turning the ball over.
Are looking amazing. Just so you know.
He's not turning the ball over.
His rest of the season schedule is minted. 100%. It's amazing.
I still like the upside of Kyler, but I agree with you guys. He's been playing well, and you can't really go too wrong with.
Oh gosh, what's Neil looking at now?
I'm reading ahead.
Yeah, okay. I know.
You can skip Aaron's next thing because that's not. We love you, Aaron, but that's not.
Yeah.
That's not. He was just referring to his. He was just referring to his team where he's
shout out to Marion Barber.
Oh, yeah, Polo knows what I'm talking about. Polo.
Oh, also, a little bit of
Hey, when you got it, flaunt it.
All right, Polo. Our league has 2 flex spots currently. I have CMC and Elijah Mitchell in the spots. Put Pollard in, take Mitchell out. Yes. Do that yesterday. Put CMC, keep CMC, take out Mitchell, put in Pollard. Easy. Don't even think about it. Just do it.
Is Minnesota the Gophers?
Golden Gophers.
The Golden Gophers, yes.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. I was like, God, why? I feel like their mascot's something weird.
Yeah, it's a Golden Gopher.
Yeah. So yes.
Just
curious, but yeah, I definitely go Pollard.
Right way.
Also, now we have a ton of one-hit wonders.
Hold on. Let's do the one-hit wonders in a second. I want to make sure we get.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's why I was laughing was the one-hit wonders because there were some good ones from our audience in there. A couple that I had completely forgot about. Yeah, I'm 100% gonna take Mitchell out and put Pollard in.
I just if you didn't have Pollard, I just don't like this. Like I know they run the ball a lot, but they are playing the Saints, who are good against the run, and CMC and Mitchell. I just don't trust it because both are eating away, cannibalizing each other essentially, because only one of them can get the ball each play. I always say that. That's why I don't like playing receivers on the same team, or players on the same team for that matter. But that's just me. Even on like a high flying offense, like if you have like Jalen Waddle and Tyreek, then it's different. But yeah, make that move. I would do that 100%. All right, we're ready to get into some one-hit wonders.
Yeah, let's do the one-hit wonders because some of these are great.
I don't know about this one. This one, I don't know if that was for a different.
Get
question. Out. I think that might have been for something else. I think
get out.
That might have been for.
Oh no! Wait, hold on. You skipped one. Hold on, I'll just move.
It was his tight end
myself.
No,
oh, I know. I
Cadillac Williams, baby.
Oh, I
Cadillac Williams. That's what I was laughing at directly. Cadillac Williams is a great choice. University of Auburn star, Cadillac Williams. Haven't thought about that in a decade. That's amazing.
Mike Manning, just name. Well, Barnage we already did. Barnage, I brought.
Oh,
that
I'm sorry.
up
You're right. We did.
Mike Manning, name any Brown. Malcolm Brown. Maybe not.
No, he means.
If that was, I thought that was a joke. I'm now realizing from his facial expression.
I just realized now. I just see Josh Gordon.
I thought that was like the most high level joke of all time. I was actually about to end the show. I was about to just be like, "Show's over."
You know what
Jordan just nailed it.
You know what he meant? He meant Bryce Brown. That's what.
Yeah,
that's
it. That's what it was.
Hey, I played against Bryce Brown. Talk about
So did
fun
Steve
times.
Bonham. We'll have Steve tell you his Bryce Brown story about getting eliminated from the playoffs by Bryce Brown in a story that he can tell you about. He's not bitter. That was over a decade ago. He's still mad about it. This still upsets him. Like I bring it up to him when I'm trying to annoy him. Like he still gets heated about this because it was that Bryce Brown 3 touchdown game, and he got eliminated in the playoffs because of it.
Oh no, I actually played against him in high school.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Wait, you played high school football? I joke with you about this all the time. I didn't realize you actually played high school
football. For 1 year I played, and he ran over my body very hard. It was very impressive. Him and his brother, both very talented players.
What's his brother's name?
Oh,
did he actually play real football, like college or above?
Yeah, they both played, and then he got hurt, and so he didn't get to go, but Bryce did. I felt like his brother was actually.
Jason, who is the most famous player? It was Bryce Brown that you played high school football against. You'd say?
Well, I played with Tyson Hartman, which nobody will know because he was a Chief, and
that's not most famous, then, is it?
No,
well, mine is.
I liked it because he's also somebody
I don't know if you guys know who this is, but Tyler Varga.
That rings a bell. I don't.
He was on Yale, and then he was a UDFA with Colts, and he had concussion issues.
Okay,
but he was unreal with Yale, and also Canadian, obviously. But yeah, he has the same story that as Jason said. He ran me over one time. He was playing fullback, and I was defensive end, and just put me on my ass. He just got around the offensive lineman and just like floored me.
The two I know that are the most famous is I know a lot of people out here who played at a much more football than I ever did. I played 1 season and I didn't play anybody of note. And then I went to play golf because I realized I didn't like getting hit. So it's like, I realized early that like I don't like this. I don't like getting hurt. I'm just gonna go play golf. Like, and because you can make a lot of money playing golf. Like
my body's a lot less sore.
Yeah, I don't get hurt. Nobody hits me. I also didn't like when people like grab my face mask and like hit heads. Like, I really don't like that. Like, please don't do that. Like no one does that in golf. That would be a horrible rules violation if you tried. The thing that I'll say is, but I know a lot of people out here, like in Denver, who played like D1 and a lot of like high school football. And the 2 stories I've heard from multiple people are the people who played against Philip Lindsay when he was in high school. And everybody tells me the same story, which is this little guy didn't matter. He would just run right by you and just take it to the house and just embarrass you in front of your family. Like he would just cut and just banish you to the shadow realm to the point where people wouldn't even try to tackle him, is the story I've heard, because they just thought, they're like, I'm not getting embarrassed in front of my family. And the other people I know are people who played at a higher level than that, and they played against Christian McCaffrey. And I know 2 people who played against CMC, and they've told me versions of the same story. One guy actually tried to tackle Christian full on, and he did a spin move, and he managed to do a spin move and then put his hand on their back, and he bounced them off the turf when they were trying to dive forward to tackle him. And the way the story goes, my buddy will tell you, goes, he's like, I tried to square up to Christian. He did a spin move. I went to dive. He had enough time to, while spinning, put his hand on my back while holding the football in the other hand and bounce me off the turf chest first. And it knocked the wind out of me. And I threw up on the sideline. And he goes, this was a home game for him. He's like, this was in front of my family, in front of my friends. Like the whole school saw. And then he said, there's another guy I know who played against Christian McCaffrey. And he goes, I went to tackle him low and he just jumped over me and just scored. And he goes, we lost that game like 85-4, to 6 or something. Like, it's like, and it was all Christian McCaffrey. Just, that was the whole game. So those are the ones that I'm familiar with. Pretty embarrassing stuff.
Mike Manning has another one. Doug Martin's
yeah,
that's
good. There you go.
Muscle
hamster. Yeah,
muscle hamster. That's great.
Here we have Mason with some One Piece.
We don't need to go back to this guy.
I don't know.
I like how Mason's trying to make fun of what I said, and then I'll call him out on knowing animes, and he starts listing animes that he knows.
Is Yu-Gi-Oh? Is it Yu-Gi-Oh?
No.
No, even I know the difference between that. I know. I actually know enough to know what the difference between those two things is.
So we Mike Manning had another good one. Stevie Johnson.
Oh,
My
that is
favorite-
a good one.
My favorite Stevie Johnson moment is when he missed a catch at the end zone and blamed God. That was my favorite Stevie
That is a
Johnson moment.
great one. Mine is when he scored and then lifted his shirt up and then took the cell phone out and got into a huge amount of trouble for having his cell phone like tucked into his waist the entire game.
He just
we
knew he was
also,
getting the touchdown trade. It was just for that play.
Daniel has one Justin Forsett with the Ravens. Was it the Ravens?
Yeah, that would have been the
2014,
Ravens.
yeah.
This is a good one. And then our favorite, the wide receiver that's one biscuit away from a tight end, Kelvin Benjamin in his rookie
Well,
year.
he tried to be tight end. It failed, but
Well,
he tried.
before he decided that it was
Much like Devin Funches, if we were going on that same vein.
We also have some discussion in our chat. Daniel Ward asked Polo, how did you manage to have CMC, Barkley, Cook, Pollard, and Mitchell?
That is a good question, actually, Polo.
Polo
I don't know
was
how
fun.
you did that.
He said he drafted Cook and Barkley, then traded Fields, Garrett Wilson, DeAndre Swift. I'm going to assume Jamal
it's this
Williams,
trade.
Anthony Brown for CMC, Marshall. Whereas Daniel
I
Ward
didn't love
said,
that trade, but it worked out for him.
Wow, good trade.
It did work out. It really did work out. By the way, if you want to go back to one hit wonders for just real quick,
Yeah.
Because this show is completely off the rails. It's actually one of the most fun shows we've done in a long time because it's just there's not as many questions because it's like the volume is down. But if you want to do a fun one, Mercedes Lewis in 2010, and what's fun about that is Mercedes Lewis is still playing football 12 years later. Like that's insane.
Mercedes Lewis is the answer to my favorite trivia question. Who is the only first round pick that Aaron Rodgers has thrown a touchdown to?
Yeah,
And it just
It's
happens.
Mercedes Lewis, which is unfathomable, but we'll move on.
I have other ones too. I got one that'll be near and dear to your heart. If you take the 2016 out of it, because I'm actually better at the older stuff, to be honest with you, because these are starting to come to me as I think about it. Brandon Stokely in 2004, with the Colts. Remember that?
Yeah.
And Stokely, by the way, excellent on the radio. He's on the radio locally here in Denver every day during drive time. He's hilarious. Like that dude is genuinely funny. And there's some other ones here that are like really old that are kind of funny that maybe aren't as funny to people who weren't playing. But remember Derek Anderson? To Mike's point about Name a Brown, Derek Anderson had one of those years. Yeah. Nobody mentioned Nick Foles in 2013.
That's a good one.
The Nick Foles contract that just keeps getting renewed because he won something once. And then Steve Slayton. That's a deep cut.
Mason's doing his best Gus Johnson impression. Oh, never mind. I thought he was doing the Stokely down the sideline. I read that wrong. He's just disagreeing with you. Never mind.
He's hilarious. Him and Zach just argue with each other like an old married couple. It's this show, but with a Southern accent. It's the same thing. What are you doing?
I don't think I can do a Southern.
Please try.
Oh, I could do it. My whole family is from the Southeast. I could do it. They're going to get mad at me, but I could do it. I could absolutely do it. I'm not going to unless somebody
that has
really
too many R's or loses the R's.
This one, but near and dear to your heart, Neil.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Okay, let's go back to another question.
Big Trust has an actual.
Yeah, Big Trust has a question.
Ruining the show. What are we doing? Answering questions.
PPR, Dameon Pierce or Pollard, and PPR, Pollard, and it's not even close.
It is Pollard. I don't argue. I don't necessarily agree with it's not close, but it is Pollard.
Well, for this week, just for PPR, I think it's if it's standard, I could kind of see it, but PPR, it's Pollard.
I'm just saying I have Pollard at 11 and Pierce at 16. It's not that insane.
Fair enough.
One's a back end RB1 and one's a high end RB2. It ain't that crazy.
And then pick 2, same league: Sutton, Pierce, Pollard, Murray, Watson, Swift.
So we've already picked Pollard, so we have to go.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Like, if it's hyphenated, so that means whoever we pick.
No, it's whatever league. One you eliminate Pollard. From this.
Yeah, okay.
Like so, it's just the question is Sutton, Pierce, Murray, Watson, Swift.
PPR. So Sutton is a must for me if Judy's. I'm still assuming Judy's out.
That's that. We don't know that either yet.
I know, but
that's
it's too early. But I'm still gonna say
I'd probably still take Sutton over Watson, though, regardless of what.
That's just rude.
Why? Well, you just picked Sutton right out of the gate, and you're saying
and then Watson. Because I get to do.
Okay, so you're going Sutton Watson is what you're going.
It's PPR.
Okay.
That's why I'm close with Murray, just because I do think he ends up finding the end zone, and that helps, and I'm assuming he probably gets 50 plus yards. So you're looking at what 12 points there already.
This is one of those times that we always think it's like, what year is it that Latavius Murray is back to being the lead back? And the man's 33 years old.
I'm aware. It's also remember last year is like Devonta Freeman. That's the reaction I was having last year, where it's like, what, year is it?
Latavius Murray
Cordero
is going
Patterson.
to be top of the list for fantasy cockroach this year.
Yeah. Also, what is he like? 3-time fantasy zombie? It's hard to do it more than once. Like it's like the 3rd time he's done it. It's really hard to do. At a certain level, you got to tip your cap to it.
Well, The Walking Dead did just hit its finale, so no,
You watched The Walking Dead, Phil? I gave up on that show like season 5, and I thought I was in for too long, man.
I'm going Pierce Sutton here.
Okay, that's fair. I mean,
Pierce is going to get the volume. And I'm
sure.
assuming I think, and I reserve the right to change that answer if Jerry Jeudy does play. By the way, but for the purposes of this conversation, we will assume that Jerry Jeudy is not playing this week.
Okay.
So if that's the case, then I'm going to go Sutton Pierce. If Jeudy is playing, I think I'm going Pierce Murray. To be honest with you, but it's a volume thing, and this is where Jason and I always get into debates about the merits of volume versus upside. Actually. Hold on. This is hard because you can use so many options.
Are you guys both done with Swift, man?
No, I'm not done with it. It's just he has better options.
Yeah, I mean, until I see something from Swift.
Well, Swift has been fine. It's just he has to score a touchdown.
Yeah, that's true.
And he has been doing that. So you get something. Yeah. You get something out of him every time. He gets about a 12 in PPR. That's not horrible. It's just it's not the RB1 you drafted in the 1st or 2nd round of your draft.
And it's the Bills.
And it is the Bills.
And I'm not saying that
on a Thursday, which I don't like. Yeah, even though it's Thanksgiving.
And the Bills have been camping out in your yard for the last 5 days.
So I'm gonna stick with Sutton Pierce, and if Jeudy is playing, I'm gonna go with Pierce Watson. Actually, I had to check my flex rankings.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah, because. I don't know. Murray, for me, I don't feel right playing Latavius Murray. I don't care.
It feels dirty.
It does. Like, I just feel gross.
I need a shower after that one,
and
boys.
It's PPR, so I'd rather have the running back or the wide receiver. And Swift, I honestly didn't even know how bad it was until I just looked at the numbers. It's awful. And it's not on him. He's just getting no carries.
Well, it's because they don't. What's their incentive? Yeah. He's their future. Yeah. What's their incentive to get him more beat up than he already is? Jamal Williams is like the rental car. And Jamal Williams has also been playing well enough that it's like, George, as I say to you every year, what's the fastest car on the road? The rental car, not your car. Who drives their car like a hooligan? No one. You drive a rental car like you stole it. Like, okay, Jason, no one was a nice car. I don't know what kind of car you're driving these days, but
my Jeep, I'm good.
You drive a Jeep.
You can beat a Jeep to death. It doesn't matter. Leave it on the road and get another one. But yeah, it's. Williams might actually be earning himself this is his last year Williams deal. I would be shocked if they don't bring him back. I would be shocked if he's not back.
He's going to. If they don't, he's going to be on another roster.
Well, sure, yeah, easy.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying, why would the Lions should know better than anybody? Like
somebody's going to overpay for that.
Oh yeah,
maybe. There's a very good chance of that. There's a very good chance of that, Jordan.
And you know he deserves it. You know what? I love Jamal Williams. I think he'd be.
So
great.
do I.
He seems like a great guy. Like even beyond the football field, seems like a great guy and a great locker room presence. Just based on what I saw on Hard Knocks.
He's also hilarious.
He is hilarious.
Jamal Williams is the RB13 in PP.
And another thing about Jamal
that's
Williams,
disgusting. Like
you love it. You love to see it.
I have Jamal Williams in every fantasy league I play in. By the way, and I play in like 5. I have him in every league. I got him on average in the 12th round, and everybody was like, why would you want Jamal Williams? And I'm like, you're going to be so sad when I'm starting Jamal Williams. And then he scored 3 touchdowns last week, and I got to like just throw it in somebody's face that I know is a personal friend of mine that goes way back. I was just relentlessly like, Jamal Williams, that's terrible. Touchdown number 2. Touchdown number 3.
Some guy in my keeper league traded right when he got the 3 touchdowns, traded him for a 4th round pick.
That's a good deal. That's a really good deal.
I know.
Boy, I love Jamal Williams, and I think I might have to take the 4th round pick. It
was a 4th round pick and AJ Dillon, but that doesn't matter.
You're not wrong there.
Mason again. You think you had a bad CMC play down the street for me?
Mason is from the area. Yeah. He's from where I live. I believe him.
And Daniel Ward, we can't say that word. Washington fans, remember 06 Liddell Betts.
Daniel can say it, but I refuse to. I still refer to them as the R's.
Yeah. Also, he also played against Brian Breesy.
Oh, wow. I don't feel as old.
I do. I don't even know who that is. I don't.
Talk about it offline.
We'll
talk about it offline.
Okay. Aaron Cantu, Cousins versus the Patriots, or Jimmy G versus the Saints. I think
Jimmy G.
Jimmy G.
Cousins in prime time versus the Patriots.
Well, not
no,
only prime time on a short.
I see your waiver claim went through, Aaron. Good. I'm glad that your waiver claim that Jason and I were helping you with went through. Good. I like how Aaron has these conversations with us on the Discord that he pays for, and then still comes to the show. So
hey, he's dedicated. Good for him.
He loves it.
This is great. Aaron's encroaching on superfan status with like Polo and Jose.
We haven't seen Jose in a while. It's been 2 weeks since.
Jose has a family and it's the holidays, so I'm not surprised.
But he wasn't there
I felt
last
like I
week,
saw him on Monday.
He might have been on Monday.
No,
he might, but again, Jose has like a family. Like he has stuff to do, so I can't.
So
he
sad.
can't be on every show as much as we would love him to be.
Big trust.
It is Garoppolo though, by the way, for me.
Oh, yeah,
I am going to agree with that. Yeah.
Does Swift practicing fully on a Monday and a Tuesday mean anything? Yes, it means that they're playing on Thursday.
Normally, thank you.
I'm sorry, I don't want to be facetious.
Hey, tip your waitresses. Jordan will be here all week.
Well, it's true.
It means he's healthy.
But again, we were just talking about like, is he really going to be relevant?
Until I see him put up a big game,
the practice reports don't matter for DeAndre Swift.
They don't.
It makes no difference. He could be limited. He could be fully participant. It's one of the rare scenarios where it does not matter because seems to be the equilibrium that they're going to go with until it stops working or until there's some reason to change. And the way it works is Jamal Williams gets everything between the 20s, and then he gets a little bit of work besides that. And that's the money work that you really want. DeAndre Swift gets limited red zone work when Jamal Williams needs to go get some Gatorade or, take a seat. Has to pee. Like they do put Swift in limited work, and then Justin Jackson gets the stuff that doesn't matter. Gets the junk. He gets the schlock, and it makes Justin Jackson not rosterable in any way. But it siphons off just enough value because when it was a two-headed split, and I get why. Normally, some of that work would go to Swift, but they're not going to do that right now because there's no incentive for them to send Swift out there and risk him getting hurt because he is their future, and he's already still dealing with a shoulder and an ankle injury. The Lions are aware we're not going anywhere this year. We might be going somewhere next year. The Lions are a couple pieces away to a point where that team might actually be able to compete in the terrible, terrible division that division is likely going to be next year with a lot of the turnover that is
trying
about
to lose
happen.
more games.
Right? That 3-game winning streak's not helping you right now. You need to be losing these games.
Yeah.
But the Lions very quietly are on the verge of not being a joke anymore. And they need
don't let Jack hear you say that.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I don't need Jack taking victory laps in my DMs any more than he already does. And shout out to Jack. We would love to talk to you a little bit more, Jack. But the one thing that I will say is they're getting to a point where that's not a joke team anymore. So, and within that, they need DeAndre Swift for next year when their games matter. So why would I hurt him? Why would I run the risk?
You got to hate teams that are good at running their. Well, actually, let me take a step back because I was going to say something that I was.
I almost had to. I almost had to cut you off. I almost had to grab your mic and no.
Back. That are smart with their players, and you're right. They're not good for fantasy purposes, but as they're building a future and things like that, you're absolutely right. Polo is asking if I traded Dalvin Cook, what caliber of running back, wide receiver?
We could play that game. Hold on. Let me get my trade table up.
He asked a question like this last week, and I forget if it was Dalvin. I don't think it was Dalvin Cook because I don't think he would ask again.
Right. That's fine. We can play this game. Well, it also changes week on week too, to a certain extent. So I get the question.
The thing is, though, is like we always say this. I feel like we say this every week. If you're trading Dalvin Cook and trying to get a running back, you're either going lateral or you're going to have to add something to get somebody better, and there's not a lot of running backs better right now than Dalvin Cook, especially people that are being willing to be traded.
I'd argue there are about 8 running backs that are better than Dalvin Cook.
No,
I
but
I can list them for you if you
that's
like.
fair. But like, how many of those are going to be willing to? The people are going to be willing to sell those.
0.
Exactly. So you're going to need to add a piece to get one of those guys, or you're just going to go lateral. You might as well just keep them. So wide receiver, I could say more interesting. If you need a wide receiver.
You want to start with wide receiver? Because I can start with wide receiver for you.
Amari Cooper.
Okay, no.
Oh, that's too low.
No.
I mean, he has had a couple good games, but that's too low.
That's no.
I'm thinking more like
Let's just look at one. Almost the exact same.
There's not really a direct comp, so we'll get close. I'd say you're looking at like DeAndre Hopkins, CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown territory. Something like that, although I'd probably discount Brown a bit. The dream would be to get Devontae Adams, okay? But I think that dream is probably too big, especially given last week when the Denver Broncos forgot how to play defense. So I'd say the dream is to get a Devontae Adams or a Stephon Diggs.
Well, do you think you could buy low on Jefferson right now?
You could, but the problem with that is it's not really. Is it really a buy low that he had one bad game and he's got a small?
He's had 3
injury?
on the year.
You know, would be a good one
on the year, not in a row. On the year, not in a row.
Somebody who's kind of under the radar right now, Ja'Marr Chase.
Yeah, I'd argue you're overpaying for Ja'Marr Chase if that's what you want to do. But that being said, you could get Ja'Marr Chase and some sort of backup level running back more than likely. This
Michael Carter.
That actually is not the dumbest thing I've ever heard. This gets complicated to explain, but I do a trade value chart, and the easiest way to explain this
that we got in a lot of trouble for.
And now you want to know what irritates me to no end about that is that now that's on every freaking platform, including Reddit, where I got booed. I was shouted off Reddit and booed by those people. And now every week I go on there and the same GD chart that I was publishing last year is on there. And people are like, what great content. And it makes me want to throw my chair through the wall. Like, it's like,
I know, that's the whole reason I brought it up.
It makes me so mad.
Because we got so much flack.
Which is why I don't publish the trade chart anymore, because y'all took it for granted. Y'all took it for granted, and I still make that chart every week. It's my chart. So if you ever want to know, what I'm referencing in the background, the easiest way to explain this is that Fantasy Pros, ESPN, Reddit now does a similar thing, but this is not a new piece of information. If you can't tell, I'm like really bitter about that still. Like, I didn't know if that came through. It made me to no end does that irritate me that they're doing that chart without me now. Like, like it makes me want to delete my Reddit account. Like and people, what a great idea. It's been on I'm not even the originator of the idea. Fantasy Pros. Mike Taglieri, actually, rest in peace, is the originator of this idea, not me. But Tags came up with this. It's a simple chart. And what it does is it helps you assign a basis point value to every player. So for me, Ja'Marr Chase is worth about 30. Well, because of positional scarcity, Dalvin Cook is worth about 42, 43 if you want to round up. And that's the way that it works, because running back is always worth more than wide receiver because they're just less good running backs. So because Chase has been hurt and because we don't really know what it's going to look like when he comes back, I'm discounting him a little bit. So you end up with about a 30. So if you wanted to do a 2-for-1 swing on that, what you're kind of looking at is, believe it or not, Michael Carter. Like it would actually be like Michael Carter and Ja'Marr Chase would be a 2-for-1 coming back. Or you already have Elijah Mitchell, but it would be Michael Carter, or not, it would be Ja'Marr Chase and Elijah Mitchell. Or what's another one that you could do? Damian Harris. It would be Ja'Marr Chase, Damian Harris. You could do something like that to get a 2-for-1 back. If you're looking for 1-for-1s, that's where it gets trickier because, yeah, I'd want a Diggs or an Adams, but I don't know that you're going to be able to get that. So the reality of it is, I think you're looking at Yeah, I do actually know Dragon Ball Z, and I do get that reference. Yeah, I was 12 once. That was on Toonami when I was a kid. I used to tape it after school on VHS because I'm old. Because I am old. Because I am an old person who does old person things. I do get that reference. Also, the one anime I have seen in the last like 2 decades was Dragon Ball Super. And that was actually really good. I would recommend that to people. Oh, and One Punch Man. Because that was recommended to me by a friend.
Great
I
show.
don't really watch that, but that show was hilarious. So back to my original meandering argument. I think what you're looking at is like a DeAndre Hopkins, a CeeDee Lamb, or an AJ Brown, maybe a Jalen Waddle. I'd like something else to go with that. What do you guys think? If you going back to Polo's original question, what do you think you'd be trying to get at a different position?
No, I think that's accurate. Like just a guy who's in that tier, like somebody you can, if you're doing a 1-for-1, you obviously want the most bang for your buck, and it's got to be a high or a wide receiver 1, at least.
If this is the one where he has Henderson,
no,
you have to drop.
Henderson is hopefully gone at this point. I get it.
Oh,
Henderson was hey.
I would be going with like Cooper and Carter, or Kirk and Carter, or something along those lines would be what I'd be kind of looking for. Because because I'm also looking at playoff schedule.
Are you saying Christian Kirk?
Yes.
Oh, I don't want that. That seems like Christian Kirk and Mike. I don't know about that. I'd rather just have Cook. I'd rather just keep.
Oh, there
Cook.
we go. I have Christian Kirk at about 26. So
still, for me, I would rather just have
together.
The devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. I'd rather have the top end running back than 2 mid-tier wide receivers, or 2 mid-tier options. Sorry, but that's just me.
I'll give you one. You want to know what I would like to do? I'd love to get Ramondre Stevenson and like staple a prospect wide receiver to it. Like that's kind of what I want. I'd like a Ramondre with something relatively cheap at wide receiver that I could just kind of have. I might even be willing to do Cook for Ramondre straight. Like I don't want to do that, but I'd consider it. Like it's that type of thing. But below that, at the running back level, I mean, you're going to Dameon Pierce, no. Aaron Jones, no, because of the consistency. He'll get you the points. It's just you get a 40. How you want him. Well, you get a 40 and you get a 2. And that's great for the regular season, but in the playoffs, it'll kill you. And then Joe Mixon would be on the list too, but he's hurt, so I really don't want to get into that with you. But going like up the chain, if you want to go up the chain, what you could try, and we've been having this debate for the last couple of days in the chat. What if he wants to go up the chain? Because for me,
at running back,
yeah, running back, because you could do that the other way. You could try and go up the chain. For me, the ones I want are Etienne and Derrick Henry. It's volume plus schedule.
Yeah, and
that's what I
Henry
want.
has the juiciest of them all.
He has the best schedule. Derrick Henry, once again, looks like he might be a league winner for the third time in 4 years.
He also gets the Texans during playoff again somehow. Here's a 200-yard game incoming.
I don't make the schedule, buddy. But
I know,
but it's the way that it is. It's the way that it is. Derrick Henry league winner is once again a thing. I have Derrick Henry at 57 basis points of value. So what I'm telling you is like what that would look like in real terms would be Dalvin Cook at 42. So you need about a 15. Dalvin Cook and Mike Williams for like a Dalvin Cook and a Mike Williams to move myself into Derrick Henry. I would love to do that.
I would like that.
Is that too high?
Allen Lazard is too high. Yeah, Allen Lazard is too high.
What about like a Rondale Moore?
I would do that, but I don't know that other people would do that.
Yeah,
because the Rondale Moore is now hurt. Probably
he
that is the right neighborhood
for
what you're talking about. Brandon Cooks would also qualify. DPJ, believe it or not, DPJ would qualify.
DPJ for me, and this might just be me. I would want to hold just to see if he gets an uptick with Watson.
Maybe,
but I agree. That's like the territory you're looking at.
Slayton would be the dream. If I could have picked Slayton up off the waiver wire and staple it to Cook to go get Henry, I'm fist pumping in my house. Like I'm like literally cheering, sitting in my living room by myself. Like my family comes to check on me and they're like, "What are you yelling about?" And I'm like, "Don't worry about it. Go about your business."
Paris Campbell.
I don't view Paris
Speaking
Campbell.
of waiver wire wonders,
I don't view view Paris Campbell that way. We do need to be off soon because guys, we do need to start wrapping up here because I believe Locked In is coming behind us.
We have a couple more questions. Let's just go through them quickly.
Yeah, let's do them quick.
Low end tight end. I looked at this while we are talking. They all suck. I'm not gonna lie. I'd probably go Logan Thomas.
Is it PPR?
Doesn't say.
It doesn't. I don't even think.
When they don't specify, I assume that.
Okay, so yeah, if that's the case, I'd go Thomas. If it's standard, I'd probably go Hooper, just because again, they're gonna throw it at some
I'm on the
point.
same page with you, Jason. That's where I'm at.
Our friend, our buddy Mike Manning, Pacheco, Foreman, Deontay Burks need at least one as an RB. I'd go Pacheco, and let me just say a quick thing. It could be CeeDee Lamb, if you know what I mean. Mike Manning, wink, wink. But if you're keeping these,
I'm going Pacheco, Deontay.
Yeah, so am I.
For the volume reasons. Oh, this is so long. And this is the last question, though, so this will be likely the last question unless somebody wants to try and sneak one in through the deadline here.
These traded Burks, CMC for Stevenson and Watson. I'm assuming that's Christian Watson.
Oh, this is from our Discord. This came in right before we started the show. Daniel wants us to get the pitchforks and torches out for him because he thinks it's an unfair trade in his league. This is interesting.
It has to be Christian Watson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I would think so.
Yeah. His assertion, I believe, is that this is like some sort of collusion type trade is how I'm taking this from him.
This one's a little dicey because I don't know that we need like
it's CMC and Burks on the one side, Stevenson and Watson on the other, and he's saying whether or not that would be unfair enough, I believe, to try and veto it down.
What?
I don't veto trades.
Neither do I, and I don't think this is too unfair. I do think that the CMC Burks, I would rather have that side, but I don't think it's enough to justify.
I did the math on this, by the way. It's not as lopsided as you think.
Yeah, because CMC's splitting.
Because CMC, well, that's not really, but it's more. I let people run their teams the way they want, and so unless you can prove collusion to me with further details in Discord around this is a family member trade. These people, one of them is like 1 in 10 or something like that, and it's obvious it's obvious. Like you have a team that's already out of it in a non-keeper league that's like a family member or a friend that is trying to help somebody out. Then I will get on the collusion bus with you. But to me, that's the only time I ever go with collusion. It has to be something blatantly unfair that is being done to help.
Isn't he the one who just said he got like 420 every year because
he did? He did. That was last week's conversation. Okay. It's not as unfair as you think it is. I can't get on the bus unless you can provide me with additional details about why it's unfair. And those few things
are not it.
Hey, you know what?
This is not what I'm talking about.
You're
not helping your case, Daniel.
Yep.
Yeah, that doesn't.
You're going in reverse. You're reversing away. You had to tell me that it was a father and son, or cousins, or family members at Thanksgiving.
Or married.
Golly. Okay, guys, we have to clear the room for Locked In. Everybody, stay tuned for Locked In to get all the Mike Boone updates that your little heart can handle. We were promised Mike Boone and Trevor Siemian updates. Guys, have a happy Thanksgiving. It's a pleasure, as always, working with you. This has been a lot of fun today. Much looser show than normal. And to everybody out there in TV land, stay tuned for Mason coming on here in a minute. Keep up the nonsense. Have a great holiday and have a week.